Good evening, everybody. Hope you enjoy the show.
Like every Monday night, you're checking out Breakfast Soup Raw.
Enjoy as Don, Tony, and Mish spill the soup about pro wrestling, sports, news, and pop culture. Breakfast Soup Raw.
Breakfast Soup Raw.
And now, your host, Mish and Don Tony.
Yeah, I got to be careful when I go like this. It might screw my heart even worse. Good evening, everybody. It is Monday night, December 6th, 2021. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. And why does the screen looks good. I am Don Tony, a member of the Bomb Squad. Join along with me is
Anthony Missionary Thomas. What's going on, DT?
Nothing much. Had an interesting weekend. Yesterday, a very entertaining NXT War Games. It's going to be sad to see Johnny Wrestling go tomorrow after he gives his goodbyes. Hopefully, maybe WWE could work something out. But tonight's Raw, an interesting episode. I mean, did anybody truly think that Liv Morgan was going to beat Becky Lynch right before day one, right in the middle of the storyline? Tell me this didn't feel a little bit like Becky Lynch taking on Bianca Belair not too long ago. Becky Lynch grabbing the ropes once again, which she's done numerous times to retain her title. Tonight, no different. I will say this. Liv Morgan should be very proud of her performance tonight. Was it stellar? No. But it definitely showed that she is improved substantially from 1 year ago. Not yet for the heavyweight championship, but she's on her way. And I think this should give her the drive and the incentive to whatever she's been doing over the last year, double it, triple it, work harder. She's on the way. What did you think of the main event tonight?
It was okay. I mean, I'll agree with you in the sense that Liv has improved in the last year, but I mean, I don't think it's something that she's designed to be the next main event. I don't see that being something as a staple of her future. I think if anything right now, WWE is trying everything that they can to see if they can find some kind of hidden talent in some of these people that haven't been pushed so far.
Absolutely.
It's Liv's turn right now in order to try and showcase what she can do. And this might be the best that she's available to do. This might be just, what she can do. And yeah, Becky won because I don't think anybody's ready to take it off of Becky. And it's definitely not going to be Liv tonight. So.
Absolutely. Steve Joseph. Steve, we'll talk about CM Punk in a little bit. We're just opening up Raw right now. Shout out to Chris L. Happy anniversary, my friend. 11 months. And Steve, I'll get into CM Punk in a second, but Chris points out, a while back we had Angry Miz Girl. Tonight we had Angry Liv Girl. You see that at the very end? Some people, they believe, there are some hardcore fans of Liv, and Liv, she connects with a lot of everyday people because she is the true example. Of course, she is beautiful and she is talented, but she also connects as just the everyday girl next door, very humble of where she's at.
Girls that look like Liv next door to you? Because I sure don't.
Not right now, but she's the type. What I mean by the girl next door is, when you see her entrance and she's on the ropes, you could see the emotion tonight that this was a really big deal. And she's humble. And her humbleness if that's even the right word, comes across on the screen. And I appreciate that. Someone who has earned the right to at least give a chance to prove herself that she's on her way. Not women's champion yet, but I really had no issue whatsoever as far as her getting this shot tonight. Now, let's clear up, or let's address some controversy. And I got to tell you, man, I understand why Joey Numbers doesn't have a Twitter account anymore. And I understand why a lot of you out there have closed your social media. I mean, I keep it open to promote our stuff and to mingle with some of you out there that are more concerned with the truth, with facts, instead of popularity tweets. And I tell you, today was a really good example of those, as people are more concerned about popularity than anything else. And the two topics tonight that really showed me that is Jeff Hardy, which we will get into in a few moments, but also this history that WWE is trying to rewrite. And I swear to God, if any of you out there think that I'm exaggerating, just go to the history show that I did about 4 years ago, This Week in Wrestling History, because I had a little bit of a audio blog on this. I addressed it 4 years ago, and nothing has changed. In fact, it got worse tonight because a lot of people within wrestling doubled down on this. And I swear, I'm not trying to stir things up. You know me, we don't clickbait here. You know, we don't try to insinuate something that we know is not, or we're unsure of what it actually is. I want to show you, Mish, and everyone out there, this tweet that Trish Stratus put out today. And for our audio-only friends out there, shout out to all of you. Trish writes today, and I quote, "First women to main event Raw. 17 years ago today, glass ceilings were shattered. Dreams came true. Moments like this help change the preconceived notion of what a female could do in the ring. Proud to share this moment with my bestie, Amy Dumas, Lita." WWE is still insisting to tell everyone that December 6th, 2004 was the first ever women's Raw main event. Now, history is history, whether it's good or if it's Shangada. The first World Series, I don't remember what year it was, but if the games sucked, that doesn't mean it's not the first World Series. The first Super Bowl, if the game sucked, or if it was not what it is today, that doesn't mean it's not the first Super Bowl. My friends, I know it's a very crappy picture. I think this is probably a better way to put it. That is August 21st, 2000. 4 years and almost 4 months prior to Lita versus Trish Stratus. August 21st, 2000, Lita wrestled Stephanie McMahon and won the women's championship with The Rock as the special guest referee. And yeah, there were antics. There was shenanigans. But that is the first women's main event in Raw history. Why is not only WWE insisting on rewriting that history, but you have Trish, Lita, a lot of women in wrestling that are going along with it and doubling down, insisting. Why? Because Lita versus Trish actually had better wrestling. I mean, tell me, am I wrong on this? Am I going loony here? But why is this not the first women's Raw main event in history?
Can I answer that one? I feel it might be a simpler answer than you think. It could be because Stephanie McMahon doesn't want people to consider her a wrestler. Obviously, she's one of the heads of the company. Obviously, she does a lot of charity work as a brand spokesman for WWE. I wonder if that's not necessarily a Trish thing, but could that possibly be a Stephanie McMahon thing, saying, because we've seen it. We've seen her kind of erasing her past in order to have a political foothold. And me and you have also speculated since Linda went into politics, it seemed like it could have been a thing for a while there that Stephanie might follow suit. So
history is history.
Right. No. And you're right. But that doesn't mean that people won't try to obscure history.
Is George Washington not the first president because he had slaves? I'm not. I mean, I know that's far-fetched. I mean, my point is, just because the way you want it perceived or the way it came across is not the best history to look back on. History is history.
WWE rewrites history all the time. It's not the first time, and I'm sure there's a dozen examples that you could just randomly throw out there that people could pull up. WWE rewrites history in order to fit the narrative. If the narrative is we don't want Stephanie approached as a wrestler, but more as an empowered woman running the WWE company and different organizations for WWE, then that's how they want to be perceived. If this is through messages like Trish saying that her and Lita were the ones to main event Raw first, that's the narrative that they're going to push. I'm sorry. I understand what you're saying. It's not right because it's mistelling what actually happened. But it's not the first time that WWE's been accused of this.
Well, let me ask you this. News sites and shows, I don't want to say are not supposed to be biased because obviously a lot of them are. But can you explain to me why every site and every news outlet and every podcast, instead of challenging this factoid, that they're just retweeting, liking, trying to get the tweet bangs from other women in wrestling, instead of just throwing it out to say, look, whether you like it or not, WWE, whether you like it or not, Steph, whether you like it or not, Trish, whether you like it or not, Lita, whether you like it or not, women, this is the first Raw women's main event, whether you like it or not. And no one out there, it's funny because they will insist to tell us this is the lowest rating in the history of Raw. This is the first this is the last this is first, last, blah, 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 blah. And this, though, because the popular narrative is to celebrate Trish and Lita. History, pioneers, first women's Raw main event. And that is just a lie. I'm not crapping on Lita and Trish. Lita and Trish's match in 2004 blew the doors off of Lita versus Stephanie. No question. But facts are facts. And it just blows me away today that I'm watching people in wrestling, blue check marks, podcasters, sites, fans, everybody out there that know the truth, but would rather be part of the popularity tweets.
Do you really think that they all know the truth? Look, I'm not going to sit there and sell everybody short. I'm sure there is probably a handful of people that knew better, but I think give much credit to the popularity of this thing. I think a lot of people just see a tweet and they respond, they retweet it in order to get, like you said, just for the clout.
One fall. You're really reaching, my friend. Don't compare me to Brian Alvarez or anyone else because here I am throwing out facts. I'm not trying to spin it. That is the complete opposite of what you're saying. Well, anyway, I just wanted to throw it out there as a reminder to everyone that whether people like it or not, and no disrespect intended, just trying to spell facts. Trish, this tweet is not incorrect. It's not true. It's not true. Just because they don't like, the way that match went down doesn't mean it's not the first. Sorry. Right. Just because it's not. The first is the first, period. That's why, lesson for WWE, when you decide in the future to do the first of something again, the first of blah, blah, blah in history, the first blah, blah, blah in history, you better make sure it is kick fucking ass. I mean, you better make sure it kicks ass, because you don't get a second chance at the first ever of anything.
Right.
So just wanted to point that out. So Medusa and Bertha Faye main evented Raw October 23rd, 1995. I got to check that out. I mean, I haven't seen anybody ever bring that one out. I mean, I remember the matches, but I got to go look at that. But happy anniversary to Harrisby. So before we get into Raw, we just do a quick recap and we get into Jeff Hardy and some other news tidbits. And yes, the bullshit alarm has to come out tonight for something ridiculous that was floating around today. Let's give a couple of super chat shout outs. I like how that sounds. Some super chat shout outs. This was from yesterday, but I wanted to throw this up to you, Mish. Tomorrow on NXT, we got Kyle O'Reilly versus Von Wagner in a cage. We got Johnny Gargano bidding farewell. We also have Zion Quinn versus Santos Escobar, but we're also going to find out who is MSK's Shaman. Who do you think is going to be? Because Richard and a lot of others out there believe it's going to be RVD.
Oh, I'm not even sure yet. I'm really not even sure. You think it's going to be RVD?
I think so. I mean, it's he. You know, if you look at MSK's style, like RVD's a pioneer of that style. You know, insinuating 420, it kind of makes sense as well. And RVD is, you know, still on the good graces of WWE. He does make a cameo once in a while. Why not bring him in to NXT for a little while? Why not maybe even make him the manager of MSK for a little while? Yeah. I don't see anything wrong with it. You know, and they do tongue-in-cheek humor with the 420. Remember, RVD came out with his smokes one time.
They also say the master of tag teaming, and that's not really an RVD thing.
That's true. Well, him and Sabu were kick-ass, man.
Oh, they were.
Heatwave 98 was incredible with Jinsei Shinzaki and Hayabusa.
Yeah.
That was kick-ass. So, Tim Keel, welcome to the family, my friend. Well, actually, happy anniversary. Oh, Tim. I know Tim's comment doesn't pop up. For some reason, the anniversary comments don't pop up. But, yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame, absolutely. But Tim says he's surprised no one said that Nikki A.S.H, what is the Shaman? Nikki A.S.H? I don't know what you meant. Oh, maybe tonight when he says Nikki A.S., you know, because of tonight, because Queen Zelina beat Nikki A.S.H tonight on Raw. And I tell you, I saved this photo from tonight's Raw. If you kind of like zoom in a little bit close, somebody looks awfully pissed off.
Yeah.
I know they started teasing the split between AJ Styles and Omos tonight, but do you think Nikki and Rhea are close second with the split?
I kind of hope so. They need to separate apart.
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of this Nikki and Rhea team up. I think it actually kind of hurts both of them a little bit. I mean, if Nikki's going to go down this wholesome, goofy superhero gimmick, fine. But how in the hell does Rhea fit into that? You know, and vice versa. Like if Rhea wants to be this hot topic super goth, like how in the hell does Nikki fit into that? This is a tandem tag team that they thought would work on so many levels, and it just doesn't. These girls don't hold each other up very well, and while I'm sure they're, you know, people enjoy seeing them as a tag team together, I think that they have a better chance apart.
See, a lot of people are not into Rhea Ripley right now because of the tag team, but people need to understand this is why you need them to be losing right now. Because by them losing more matches, it expedites the split. If you're winning, there's an old saying, you don't break what's not you don't fix what's not broken. So you need Nikki A.S.H to suck. You need Rhea Ripley maybe to be distracted and lose. And you got to do that a few times. This way, they're so freaking frustrated that they split up. So even though I know a lot of people are not feeling Rhea Ripley right now, I think what's happening right now is perfect if they're going to split. Because Rhea Ripley is, with all due respect, 10 times better as a singles competitor than a tag team wrestler. She doesn't need a tag team partner. She's that freaking good.
I agree.
So I thought this was great tonight. I mean, you had to really look closely to see how great this segment was. For those that did not see it, you know, Rhea Ripley's in the back, frustrated, and so is Nikki A.S.H. And Rhea's trying to cheer up Nikki, and a woman shows up. And she's like, oh, my God, I'm your biggest fan. Could you do me a favor and sign this? And if you look closely, you could see that the female fan was looking past Nikki A.S.H. But Nikki A.S.H. in storyline thinks that the fan is talking to her, and she's like, oh, sure, I would sign it. And, the female rudely, oh, no, I was talking about him. And Jerry the King Lawler's there because they're in Memphis. So right. He's going to get the big pop. So Jerry Lawler signs the autograph, and Nikki A.S.H. looks like a goof. So I thought that segment was so good because if you actually looked at the female fan, she was not looking at Nikki A.S.H. She was looking past Nikki A.S.H. I thought that segment was great.
Yeah, no, it was funny for what it was. I mean, it was nice bluff. It was nice to see Jerry Lawler.
Yes.
Not looking in poor health.
No.
So I guess it's kind of nice. Yeah.
Just signed a new deal with WWE.
Right.
So for all you Akira Tozawa fans that were hoping WWE would finally cut ties with the King, that's not happening, and that's a good thing. I am a huge fan of the King. A little bit of old school humor might not be the best thing to do in 2021, but there's no malicious intent on behalf of the King. And I think some people out there need to have a hot chocolate and take a chill pill, as what we would say in the 80s. Relax. Nice to see the King tonight. Also tonight, and man, this is what I mean. I don't ask for credit on social media, but I sat there for about 20 minutes and I kept reloading. I didn't see one person post it. I posted literally 5 minutes later. You got 20 people online with these big Twitter accounts reposting it as if they knew. We had Riddle and Randy Orton wearing the tan vests with the WWE patch, and even Riddle playing the role of commentator with the earpiece and everything. AJ Styles and Omos, they lose their match in the, what did they call it? The RK Bronament. 4 teams. They wrestle in an arcade Bronament to figure out who's the next team to get a shot at the tag titles. But when I saw it and I watched, this is the brackets, by the way, for anybody. Street Profits versus AJ Styles and Omos. And on the other side, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio versus Alpha Academy. We will give you the results of those matches in a moment. But, when I saw it, I immediately knew exactly what they were going for. And for those that didn't realize it, if you look at the vest, they were going old school to the 70s. Monday Night Football. I mean, Howard Cosell, they had the patches, the jackets, the suit, the tie, the earpiece. I mean, that's exactly what they were going with tonight. And I thought it was so freaking cool. And nobody, I mean, granted, because I'm old. I'm old. That's why I picked up on the reference.
That's why I thought it was even funnier, because AJ Styles didn't even get it. He's looking at it, he's like, what are you guys trying to do, Dateline?
Dude.
And Riddle's like, something like that.
Dude, I wrote on Twitter that Riddle should have called himself Howard Brosell instead of Howard Cosell. Instead, I think it was Corey Graves that brought up Chris Cuomo. You do not bring up Chris Cuomo right now in the midst of sexual abuse allegations And the guy got fired. I mean, how does nobody pick up on Howard Cosell, especially that they're doing a tribute from the 70s, and nobody says Howard Brosell? I couldn't believe it. But I enjoyed that segment, man. Riddle was priceless tonight. I mean, Riddle comes off a lot of times as stoned and innocent and dumb. But tonight, I mean, it reminded me, and I'm making this about me for a minute. If anybody remembers my indie wrestle crap, you remember when lowlife Louis Ramos lost to Balls Mahoney, God rest his soul. Balls threw a fireball in his face, and Louis lost. And then I went around ringside on the microphone and I did the spoof of the Super Bowl. I said, Louis, you lost. You keep losing. You got a fireball in your face. Your wife's about to give birth, and you're a complete loser. How do you feel right now? And then he hit me over the head with a chair, and I broke my watch, and everybody laughed at me. I was doing like kind of a spoof of the Super Bowl, and that's what it felt like with Riddle tonight. AJ Styles, you just lost the tournament match. You know, how do you feel? Your partner walked out on you. How do you feel? Get that microphone out of my face. Otis slams him. I freaking loved it, man. I thought Riddle was, for me, tonight, I think I enjoyed Riddle with maybe Vince and Austin Theory as a close second.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're going to have to keep those Austin Theory Vince sketches. Those things are awful.
You really think so?
Yeah. Austin Theory is fine. I enjoy the guy. I think the selfie bit is kind of funny. It works for him. But this weird, I don't know, relationship that he has with Vince McMahon came out of nowhere over a stupid egg, and they're going to keep it going? Like, I don't understand the connection there. Like, even back in the day when Vince took somebody underneath his wing, it was usually in order to, like, bolster the WWE or some bullshit, you know? Like, it had something to do where Vince got something from it. I don't even understand why Vince likes hanging out with this guy.
I said
nothing about it.
I said on Saturday's show that Vince, they're going to continue the storyline of Vince fawning over Austin Theory. And I made a prediction that I think Vince McMahon is going to give Austin Theory a present, a big present for the holidays. I don't know what that gift will be yet. But Saturday we talked about, I think the skits are going to continue all the way to Christmas. I think Vince, the storyline is that he is fawning over Austin Theory, just loves what he sees. And I think Vince is going to give him some type of a present. I don't know if he's going to start being affiliated, maybe with like they give him, I don't know, maybe they give him Veer Mahan. I mean, maybe they give him, he gets an entourage. Maybe he gets a gift. I don't know. But this is leading to Vince giving a big present to Austin Theory. That's where I feel this is going. I love the segments. I think they're hilarious.
That's good, man. I'm glad you enjoy it. I just don't understand the relationship. It doesn't make much sense. It kind of falls flat for me. It's not even a shot on Austin Theory. Austin Theory is definitely a good talent. And I think whether Vince was trying to do vignettes with him or not, I think the fans would eventually come to like him too. I mean, he's definitely, or dislike him because he is a heel. So I think he works overall. I just think that this Vince stuff is, I don't know, man. It doesn't gel well with me, you know?
Well, Vince is old now. I mean, let's be honest. He can't do what he used to do. I mean, a lot of these segments are pre-recorded, obviously, and I'm sure that there's multiple takes being done. I thought it was freaking hilarious that it almost looked like, I know they weren't in a restaurant, but it almost looked like they were in like a restaurant. And Austin Theory is, wearing like a shirt showing his arms, with the vest. And then a little bit later, he's in gear, which I thought was freaking hilarious. But, and he's going to be on Raw Talk tonight. So I'm curious to see what Austin Theory did on Raw Talk tonight. I'll watch it after the show's over. I have admitted. Good.
Let me ask you this question. If they were able to read the room, do you think they would play up a Vince's senile angle and have Vince do something silly like think that Austin Theory was actually Triple H and give him the company? Do you think we could go down that zany path, or do you think that this is just a series of vignettes to try and get Austin Theory more attention?
Maybe not on that level, but maybe GM, maybe gives him an authority role. Maybe lets Austin Theory run Raw for a night.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. That's not a bad idea, Mish. I think you're onto something for real. But I'm enjoying the segments. I'm enjoying them. I've been a fan of Austin Theory for a long time. So, by the way, speaking of fans, friends, this envelope here is from Adam Bomb, Bryan Clark. And I was going to open it live on the show because there's a few of you out there that won a contest not too long ago. And I know some of you have been emailing me, hey, man, I never got my prize, man. And the thing is that when we gave away a couple of personally autographed photos a couple of weeks ago, I was waiting for some of the winners to respond. And, two of the winners responded within 24 hours, and the others waited almost a week to respond. And I told Bryan Clark, I said, look, let me get everybody's address first because I wanted to know what you all wanted the photos made out to. So I said, don't ship them, as they come in. Just wait until I get all the responses, and then, I'll send them to you all at once. So I'm pulling them out. Yeah, here they are. And he said he threw some extras in here as well. So I wanted to show this live because I know there's a few of you out there. And my God, I don't want to show the postage because it's got his address on there. But first of all, a couple little surprises. Mish, this is for you. Merry Christmas. That is from Adam Baum. This is to me. This is for me. That's pretty cool. That's original WWF photo too. Very cool. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. All right, Tom Nelson. He is one that won the contest. And there you go. That autograph photo will be going out tomorrow, Wednesday. Larry C., who also won. Ooh, almost dropped it. There is your signed photo. That will be going out tomorrow, Wednesday. Lee Madden. No. I'm thinking of it differently. I was thinking Lee Sanders. Lee, yours is going out. And
Lee Majors. No.
This is, look at this. To the Don Tony show. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Him versus Bam Bam. And here's another one. But this will actually look pretty cool in the background. I mean, I don't mean to be a dick, but.
Oh, Chronic. Nice. With Bryan Adams.
Yeah. I mean, now if this was signed also by Bryan Adams, we may have a problem here. So, but yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So I wanted everybody to see that your photos will have arrived and they will go out tomorrow, Wednesday. So much love. And if you want to check it out, the Pro Wrestling Tee Store, he's got, because a lot of people have been asking about Wrath merchandise. People, say, Bryan Clark was not just Adam Bomb. He was with Mortis in WCW, managed by James Vanderberg, right? That's Sinister Minister. Sinister Minister. Yeah. So, so the Wrath shirt is now available in the Pro Wrestling Tee Store. And very cool. Very cool. Yes, Bryan Clark still tunes in. He, along with some others, lurk. They don't want to, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, I get DMs after Mish gets DMs from people, even in wrestling. Hey, checked out the show tonight. Just don't mention my name because I don't want any heat put my way. Or a lot of people lurk, which is all good. But very humbled as well. And we will have him on soon. And believe me, when we have him on, we don't have to do any crash course about history with him. We're just going to have casual conversation, and where the convo goes, it goes. So, let's get into the rest of Raw tonight. We had Big E opening up Raw. It was a non-title match, but taking on Kevin Owens in a steel cage. Seth Rollins at ringside, so Seth Rollins was going to get involved in this. Really, really fun match. I mean, I'm very surprised that Big E got the win because it was non-title and because I expected WWE to make that suspension of disbelief that if Kevin Owens could escape the cage, number one, he's not pinning Big E, and number two, the title's not on the line. So if Kevin Owens wins, it gives that suspension of disbelief that Biggie is vulnerable, can lose. But instead, they threw us a curveball. Bobby Lashley shows up, and Bobby Lashley pretty much lays out all three guys.
Right.
Do you think at day one they will make it a fatal four-way?
I mean, it's starting to look that way. It's starting to look that way, that we're going to have a fatal four-way on day one, which honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. The three with Seth and Kevin Owens and Big E, I'll be honest, I really wasn't feeling it. I've said before that the entire build-up for this, the continuity really didn't make sense. And even them opening up Raw with a cage match for absolutely no reason kind of made no sense either. The payoff being that Bobby Lashley was getting involved at the end. But yeah, I hope they do a fatal four-way. I think that's the only way that they can make this a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this much. I personally think, they wanted the women to close out Raw because today was the 17-year anniversary of Lita versus Trish. Whether it was the first Raw women's main event or not, it still is a historic, memorable match on Raw. So they wanted to basically, and look, not to jump ahead, but at one point during the match with Liv and Becky, Liv did the tope suicida outside the ring and onto Becky, and that was a tribute to Lita doing that to Trish. And if you remember, Lita landed on her head. She landed fuck the neck. So that was a little tribute to those two as well. So tonight was about giving tribute to those women. And you know what? That's why, as far as the match itself and the tribute, I'm fine with all of that. That's why I didn't think it was necessary to insist on rewriting history as well. I mean, two pioneers, the second, Raw women's main event, I think they would have gotten just as much attention, And what's wrong with showing a little love to Stephanie, in my opinion? But
nothing. Like I said, I just brought that up wondering, and I was curious your feedback on it.
Yeah, sure.
If you think this is another thing that they were just trying to cover up.
I like that they opened with the cage match. I mean, it was fun. I mean, WWE and AEW have been opening up their shows with big matches for a little while now. And I think fans are starting to get used to that. Open up with a bang. I mean, 3 hours is long freaking time. And if you look at the ratings per hour, when we were younger, and a lot of you out there will remember this, the first hour would draw its rating. The second hour would be a little bit more. The third hour would be a little bit more than that. And the overrun, when they used to have overruns, would be the highest because you had the wrestling fans and you had fans that were watching the competition. And then you had people that were tuning in to see what's on after Raw. So the overrun would always be the biggest. Now the trend is the opposite. The hour number one might be the biggest rating of the entire show. By hour 3, some people are sleeping. They've had enough. They changed the channel. So giving people dinner, it's like you're giving people dinner before they had or you're giving people their dessert before they had their dinner and their appetizer. But I hope they put Lashley in it. I think a 4-way with Lashley, Big E, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins is money. I think that's fine. I mean, I think Big E still comes out as WWE champion, but Bobby Lashley, I mean, they're not doing much else right now. So I say put Bobby Lashley in there.
Yeah, no, I'm totally fine with it.
George, Pro Wrestling Tees has this shirt. It's a very, very cool freaking shirt, if you could see it. I know I'm lounging back, but yeah, it's awesome looking shirt. We'll get back to the super chats in a moment, everyone. We talked about Queen Zelina beating Nikki A.S.H. Not much there. This is more to enhance the frustration with Nikki and Rhea Ripley. Then we had the RK Bronament match. AJ Styles and Omos, they lose to the Street Profits. And I'll tell you the truth, Mitch. I know you and I have talked quite a bit that we don't want to see AJ and Omos split.
Right.
I hated the end of this match because Omos goes outside the ring and Omos is attacking the Street Profits. And if you look at it, the referee is counting to 10 and Omos picks up Montez Ford and just politely drops him back in the ring. And then he turns around and walks away, and I'm like, motherfucker, there's the finish. He's going to get counted out. Why did he throw him back in the ring and then walk away? I mean, it was so choreographed, and it was so awful. It was just awful. And then, AJ Styles is like, what are you doing? You got to listen to me. And Omos suddenly has conniption, and he walks off. I didn't like any of it.
Well, I think they're trying to play on the fact that, as they've shown over the last couple months at least, that Omos has anger, that the guy is full of rage. And I think tonight we saw the kink in the armor because AJ Styles couldn't control it. AJ Styles couldn't direct Omos, and at the end of the match, Omos was so upset that he just didn't listen to AJ, and AJ was trying to reason with him, and he decided to leave.
Yeah.
So I think that that's where they're going. I don't know if this is going to end up in some kind of feud, like war feud, or if Omos is just done with AJ. I think that's another thing, too, that we don't ever talk about, because everybody always thinks that when a tag team breaks up, they have to feud immediately. Like, that's something that they go to. What if Omos is just sick of AJ and just leaves? Maybe he doesn't want to beat his ass. Maybe he's just done and thinks he could do something better by himself.
As long as he doesn't start going and Dancing with the Stars, because Miz and Morrison never had that payoff.
Well,
never had the match. Awful.
I'm not looking forward to any kind of a split between these guys. I think that there's a lot more coming out of them together. But I think this arcade Bronament is going to show more cracks than not. So
let me ask you this. Are you surprised that the fans booed Omos for walking away? I know usually the person that walks away gets the boos, but you ask yourself, were they going more for AJ Styles to be the heel in this or the babyface? Or maybe neutral?
Oh. No, I mean, neutral's ultimately it, because I think that if we're right now at the point where AJ Styles is going to try and mend this relationship. But overall, the fans are going to cheer AJ Styles first. Omos is the one that's benefiting from AJ Styles, but the fans are behind AJ Styles. Even as a heel, the fans are behind AJ Styles.
Yeah, but
Omos is kind of the new kid on the block, and he has a lot to prove on his own. And don't get me wrong, his time with AJ Styles has been great. It's been a lot of fun. But if you put Omos versus AJ Styles, the fans aren't going to cheer for Omos over Styles, dude.
Well, but you see, I think that's what WWE is going for, because what I think is going to happen is AJ Styles tonight getting in Omos's face, you need to listen to me. I see it a mile away. I mean, I obviously have nobody in front of me, but AJ Styles is going to start talking shit to Omos again. And I think AJ is going to be like, hey, are you paying attention? And I think Omos is going to be like, with the eyes, and then AJ's going to realize, oh shit, I fucked up. And I think that's where they're going with this. I think that's what they're going with this. I think ultimately WWE wants AJ Styles to get a little abusive to Omos, and Omos is going to get pissed off and then probably dump AJ Styles on his back. And I think WWE wants Omos to be cheered exiting. That's how I feel they want it to go. I don't know if it's going to end up that way, though.
I don't know. I get more of a mentor feel from AJ Styles than the heel, I'm better than you, AJ Styles.
And I
think that kind of changed a little bit over time. I mean, don't get me wrong, when the tag team first formed, AJ Styles was definitely the most important guy in the room.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I almost have like a mentor feel that he has over there. So when he's saying stuff like, Omos, you have to listen to me. Listen to me. I don't take it as listen to me because I'm right. It's more like listen to me because this is what you need to know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it really depends on how you see the way he was talking to him. Do you see it as being adversarial, or do you see it as being a mentorship?
Yeah. Well, we will see. The other Bronament match tonight, Dominic and Rey Mysterio over Alpha Academy. Otis never got in the match. What did you think of that?
That's fine by me.
Okay.
That's fine by me.
I mean, if you look at it, we got both babyface teams. This is interesting. You got both babyface teams facing off against each other, and the winner of that will also face the babyface team.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You don't have that happen much ever. I mean,
Right.
You have the Street Profits versus the Mysterios, and then whoever wins that is going to take on RK Bro. So 3 babyface teams pretty much left in this. Bianca Belair beating Doudrop. Doudrop basically walks off. Is it time to end this Acme Insta feud that just feels that it was designed solely to get Bianca Belair's name not mentioned in the title picture for a little while?
I mean, I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do with Bianca Belair anyways. I'll be honest, I don't feel like Bianca Belair is the big main event that everybody saw her to be.
Oh, I disagree.
And I think that there's been a lot of pitfalls that have happened since Bianca Belair's lost that title that has kind of weakened her position.
Right.
I don't look at her as the number 3 or the number 4 or the number 5 anymore.
Well, that's WWE's doing. That's not her doing.
Okay, well, I'm not blaming Bianca Belair herself, but it's still a position that she's been put in because of the Acme Insta feud, because of the way that they've directed her character. I was one of those people that was completely against her being that sappy baby face that everybody supposedly loved. I really thought that Bianca Belair needs to heel it up. She has a heel-based character, and so I don't know. I mean, I guess you like her as a face, so
yeah.
You.
Finn Balor over T-Bar, and it was good while it lasted, but man, I'm concerned about Dijakovic's future in WWE. I mean, what happened? I mean, I know people can say, well, Retribution happened, but still, put him back in NXT.
Right.
Put him back in NXT. He's not, over the hill. I mean, I look, him versus Finn Balor, fun match while it lasted, but it's like, okay, we got to throw Finn Balor out there. Let's just give him T-Bar. It just feels like Finn Balor should not be stuck in the mud this quickly. I mean, they brought him back to NXT for a little while. Then he was on SmackDown for a little while. Then he, trips over the top rope in his match with Roman Reigns. And since then, it just feels like he feels like a special attraction than actually a viable contender. And that sucks because that guy, definitely should be getting more, in my opinion.
Right.
Damian Priest, U.S. title open challenge. Robert Roode answers the challenge. Damian Priest retains. Fun match after the match is over. Ziggler knocks out Damian Priest. We didn't get the El Incredibile Hulk tonight. Damian Priest, got knocked on his ass and basically didn't have the crazy eyes tonight like he used to. But what'd you think about that match
I don't
tonight?
know. It's interesting to position Bobby Roode even in that way, and they got their revenge after the match, so I thought that was a little odd. But yeah, no, I mean, it's still this downward trend for Damian Priest.
Yeah. And I tell you, man, the guy, it's funny, if you look at his win-loss for 2021, it's crazy. It's freaking crazy because it's not just the percentage, it's how many matches he's had as well. But I tell you, when you go back and you look at magazines and shows and websites, and yes, for those that are not aware already, we are bringing back the Black Hearts year-end awards. On Saturday, we reminisced, we flashed back 15 years ago and got into the categories then and the nominees to show you not only how much wrestling has changed, but how much of it has not. It's pretty wild to see some of the names 15 years ago that still could win those awards today. But I don't know how high on the list a lot of people are going to have Damian Priest. Is he going to be in discussion with, breakout star of the year? I wouldn't say wrestler of the year, but, is he a viable person to be labeled as like a breakout star of the year? I would say so. Compared to 2020, I think Damian Priest should be looked at as breakout star of the year. Look at his win-loss record.
Absolutely. He's had a great year. He's had a great WrestleMania. He's had some highlight matches, some highlight moments, and dare I say that he's one of the more successful guys to come up from NXT in the recent couple of years. So
yeah. Edge on Miz TV. Other than insulting each other's shoes and Miz reminding us again how he was treated in the locker room back in the day, I don't know. I mean, we knew this was leading to a one-on-one, and eventually it'll lead to a mixed tag. See, a lot of people thought the mixed tag was going to happen right away. Beth Phoenix has to, train, and they have to prepare for it. So that's not happening right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the women, or at least one side, gets involved during the match, but Miz versus Edge is set now for WWE Day 1, or as the Miz called it, WWE January 1. What did you think of the back and forth tonight? Because to me, it just felt, I don't know. I mean, and I'm not saying that because CM Punk and MJF was so awesome, and last week Miz and Edge was excellent as well. But tonight it just felt forced.
yeah, it was definitely forced. Why are we still talking about Miz's debut? Why? I mean, he's not a new guy. Why are we still talking about the things that happened to Miz 20 years ago, 18 years ago? Why are we still talking about these things that are such ancient history? And I didn't understand the parallels that Edge should have been the one to fix it. Was Edge some kind of locker room leader back then when all this stuff was going on for Miz? Like, there's just so many open-ended questions on this one. It fell flat. It's not because Miz and Edge can't talk. It was goofy. So.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Near, AS7607, and everyone else. I saw the super chats that came in. Thank you. Most of the topics that came in had nothing to do with Raw, so we're going to get into everybody's in a moment. We're just going to wrap up the Raw discussion for tonight. But thank you. We're almost done with the Raw recap. Edge and Miz TV tonight, I don't know. I mean, using the excuse that Maurice didn't want to be in Memphis, I think you've said it before. Miz needs to bounce off of someone. He needs someone to compliment him, not just a verbal spat back and forth, because in wrestling, you always have an opponent. But Miz, he compliments better when he's got someone on the same side as him to feed off of him, to bounce off of him, to react and, just add things. And I even think Maurice does a great job with Miz as well. Tonight just felt bland, forced. I would have rather seen that match confirmed last week. Be so pissed off at each other, throwing verbal barbs and throwing jabs last week. And there was a lot more darts thrown last week, and then just issued a challenge. How's about I kick your ass on WWE Day 1? Why not do it last week? I think they should have issued the challenge last week. Tonight, it just felt forced. And to me, it fell flat.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, main event time. I know we had Reggie. Reggie's going to take that 24/7 title from Dana Brooke. I will admit, I was very impressed with Reggie diving off the top of some production truck. That must have been like 25, 30 feet in the air. How that guy does that with those shoes and not crack his ankle or slip. I mean, I say this in a lighthearted, sinister way. You mean to tell me somebody can't just like wipe some of their sweat? Just go like this and put a little sweat on the floor, like a bad cartoon, just a little tiny drip of water that maybe he just slips and there's Reggie's career. I say that lightheartedly, but Reggie is, trying to, get on the good side of Dana. And I think Reggie's going to end up rolling up Dana and getting that title back.
I mean, probably. I think Reggie is the guy who everybody expects to run around that title. Does it do anything for Dana Brooke? I don't.
What it does is it prolongs her 24/7 reign. I mean, I think she defeated Tamina tonight. She beat Tamina on main event. And I believe Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews beat Shelton and Cedric. I know everywhere online, everyone out there, the matches are up there. Nobody knows the outcome, and Mr. Production Man that claims to be at Raw every week, he blocked me, so I couldn't ask him, hey, you're at ringside. Who won the matches? So you see the results on my channel. All I'm going to say is Matthew A. Rotz gave that to me. So people will get the joke. But I think this is just to prolong Dana's reign and put her in a little storyline. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Reggie gives her some flowers. Reggie, I think Reggie gets on her good side and then maybe sets her up, with this big elaborate scheme, and he ends up pinning her. It would be funny if they. It would be funny if they did a romantic storyline where Reggie puts her on a couch and is about to kiss her, and he's like, close your eyes.
What would that be, number 3?
What?
That would be number 3, right? 3 or 4?
What, 3 or 4?
For Reggie.
Well, we had Nia, Sasha,
Nia Jax.
Yeah, Carmella wasn't a love interest though. Not an admirer. So I would call this number 3. Well, actually, did he ever show a little attraction to Shayna? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So this Shayna might be number 3.
Shayna wanted nothing to do with Reggie. So
I could just picture very romantically easing Dana on a couch, and he says, "I want to kiss you," almost like Pepe Le Pew. And then he's like, close your eyes. And she closed her eyes and only how she can. And then Reggie, pretending like he's about to kiss her. And he just goes like this. And she doesn't even realize that he's got a finger, almost recreating Gerald Briscoe and Crash Holly. Just very quiet. Or he goes to kiss her and there's a referee. And while he's kissing her, because he's on top of her, the referee counts 1, 2, 3.
That's pretty elaborate, DT.
Hey, is this me the way I think? Hey, if that was me in a storyline, I get to kiss the girl and I become champion at the same time. I get 2 for 1.
Does he have to kiss her on the floor, or could he do it on a couch?
I would do it on the couch. Make it a little romantic. Make some petals. I mean, look, this is WWE PG TV, so we're not going to get any really raunchy stuff, but you make it romantic. You have flowers everywhere, petals, and you go in a chair and you relax and, close your eyes, and he pins her. Grabs the title. Be like Ray Liotta in Goodfellas when he kisses his wife. Oh, no, he kisses the mistress. And then he drops her on the floor, and then he runs out and he's laughing at her, and she throws the Coke at the door. That's what he could do. He could go to kiss her, pin her, take the title, laugh at her, and leave. Run out of the room. So Becky versus Liv Morgan. I mean, we pretty much talked about it already. Becky Lynch retains the women's championship. Liv put on a great performance. I don't know what I could really add from what I said earlier. I mean, Liv, we had a nice little discussion last week. We both agreed that it's not Liv Morgan's time yet to become women's champion. But I tell you, I don't want to go this far. And I'm not going this far. But if Liv does get much better and ultimately does become a women's champion, would you look back at tonight in some way when Jeff Hardy took on The Undertaker? Remember the ladder match or the...
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I mean, obviously Becky didn't show any respect for Liv afterwards, but is this her Jeff Hardy moment?
Man, that's a stretch. I don't know if I see that. Like I said, I don't know if I see her here for a long time. I don't see her in that top spot. I really don't. I mean, how much longer is it till Asuka returns? How much longer is it until some of these other people come up from NXT? I don't look at her as the long-term answer. I really don't.
No, I wouldn't call her a long-term answer, but I think Liv just showed that she belongs. And maybe that's the right way to put it. Liv Morgan belongs. That's how I look at it. By the way, Tim Keel, we have 168 likes, not 268 likes, just to clear that up. But by the way, if you are all liking the show, hit that thumbs up before you jet out for the night. Much love. But would you say Liv Morgan belongs? You know, I think she has definitely improved significantly over the last year, and she's still extremely young. So she's got plenty of time.
Man, you're really pushing me to say yes on this. I'm sorry. I just don't see it.
All right. Look, there's a lot of people that agree with you. There is no wrong answer here. I see where she was a year ago, and without her in a tag team, she looked like a deer in headlights many times when she was in the ring. She's now a singles competitor. And from a year ago being a tag team wrestler to now a singles competitor, I think that she has done great. But she still has some time. She definitely needs to go a lot further. But I think she's in the right direction. Can we go with that? Yeah. She's in the right path. You know?
Well, I mean, anything that, somebody grows and gets experience, that's always the right direction. Yeah. I'm not saying that she's getting worse. It's not a case of like she's completely wrong overall. I just don't think she's the main event type. I don't think she's the answer. If she becomes a stable competitor, if she becomes on the level of a natty, that's perfectly fine too. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. It's like she passed a road test today, but she's not a professional race car driver yet. You passed your road test. You know what I mean? Like you got your license, but now you need to really learn how to drive. So Good job, Liv Morgan, tonight. Good job. Earned her stripes, I think. So before we get into Jeff Hardy, mind answering a couple of super chats if you don't mind?
Sure.
Trey Omega, welcome to the family, my friend. Welcome to the family. All right, Steve Joseph waiting patiently, not impatiently. Do we all agree that CM Punk's comments on there that there are no more casual fans in wrestling? And does that have something to do with the ratings overall in wrestling these days? Mish, are there no more casual wrestling fans?
Of course there are. A ton of them listen to our show. There's a lot of people that don't watch wrestling on the regular anymore, and then they just tune in for pay-per-views. I mean, we see that all the time. We know the numbers. We see the numbers from the angle of people that have been doing podcasts for over a decade plus. Yeah. So, yes, there are absolutely casual fans. There are absolutely people that pay attention to wrestling from the outside. Matter of fact, a lot of casual fans tuned into AEW when they started making some headway, because people were all of a sudden wondering, what the hell is AEW? Should I be watching it? So that was a really weird statement for him to say, because right now, are there as many casual fans as there was during the Attitude Era? Of course not. Of course not. But to sit there and say that there aren't people that are still interested in what happens in wrestling, but don't follow every aspect of it. They don't follow everything AEW, everything WWE, everything Impact, everything ROH, everything MLW, everything NW. Look, there's tons of people that don't follow everything. So I guess it really goes back to, like, I'm not exactly sure what his definition of casual fans are. Are casual fans the ones that watch all the WWE and AEW programming, but nothing else? Like,
I'll give a good example that CM Punk would never acknowledge. Legends Night. Early this year, we had Legends Night. And if anybody goes back to that day, you had podcasters especially just destroying that episode. It was horrendous. It was awful. And if you check out our podcast that night, we actually enjoyed it. That rating was like 1 million viewers. I don't know about 1 million, but there were hundreds and hundreds. I think it was close to 1 million viewers more than what they normally get. Those are casual fans. If The Rock is confirmed to make an appearance, and he is going to appear. John Cena. When John Cena returned, there was a significant boost in viewers, casual fans. There are casual fans. What I think CM Punk was trying to say is you have casual fans, but as I've said before, pro wrestling is no longer on many levels must-see TV. First run, live in person. Sammy Guevara versus Tony Nese was a very good match. People really absolutely need to watch it Friday night at 10 p.m. No, I'll watch it on YouTube. I'll watch it over the weekend. I'll watch it at my convenience. You have AEW. You see, something early on, and the ratings are not what it was because a lot of fans are like, and look, you and me on Patreon every Tuesday. What do I say most of the time? I didn't watch NXT tonight. I'll watch it on Wednesday. A lot of wrestling is no longer, I got to watch it as it happens on TV. We'll watch it, but we'll watch it on a replay. We'll watch it on streaming media. We'll watch it, and we choose to do other things. That is where if that makes you a casual fan, then so be it. But I'm with Mish. They are absolutely casual fans out there. The problem is the companies don't want to invest the time to reel in the casual fan and convert them to the fans that have to watch as it airs first run. They'll draw you in, and then they'll just go right back to what they were doing. You look at AEW, and I've pointed this out many times, and a lot of people refuse to say it. Look at the Blondes, Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. When was the last time you saw him on TV? Look at Jay Lethal. Makes that appearance. That's why you have Dark and Elevation. That's just to pad numbers, to give that perception that they wrestle all the time. But the fact of the matter is, somebody's on TV and then you don't see him for 5 weeks. Look at Brian Cage. Look at a lot of others. I mean, you actually think about it. When was the last time that Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus wrestled on Dynamite? Once in, you know what I mean? Like, what? It's just when you start breaking it down, you start realizing that a lot of the people that you want to see are not wrestling on a weekly basis. And that's what makes people decide they want to watch it at their leisure.
Right.
Another question from Steve. Has GCW surpassed Impact Wrestling as the third biggest wrestling promotion in the United States?
I don't think so. I mean, Impact still has television. Impact has a lot bigger of a reach. I mean, you can find Impact on different Roku and Amazon Fire Stick and everything else like that. I mean, they even have their own, Tubi channel too? Like when GCW gets their own TV channel, even if it's on like an outward network, like a Tubi network, then you can start making that. And to be fair, there's a lot of the well that Impact draws from too. So yeah, I don't know.
GCW, they do good with IPPVs. I still call them, internet pay-per-views. They do good with the numbers there, but Impact Wrestling still is, I don't want to call it a global company, but Impact Wrestling still, maybe more by default, but they're still the number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of favor MLW a little
bit
more.
I agree with Ryan. He says GCW passed ROH. And I'm like, well, absolutely.
Everybody's passed ROH. I hate to say it, but it's just the facts. But you know what?
Do you think they'll ever get back to their glory days when they supposedly come back in, February?
Only if they get a new owner that's privately owned, that has a fire lit under their ass, that actually wants to, when it's like, this is the best way I could put it. Pretend you're a millionaire. We're millionaires. Let's pretend we're millionaires. Yeah. And we're Sinclair. And we have, 10 cars. You have a car and the car is more of an older car, or you have all these different toys, and what happens? You have bigger and better toys, and then, you have a toy that just sits on the shelf and you really don't do much with it. Sinclair is too big that they don't want to invest the time, the energy. I mean, why would Sinclair keep this around that much longer to draw 3 rows of fans? I mean, let's be honest, everyone. Ring of Honor has not been tearing the roof off the building with attendances. You know, you have to pair up with New Japan, All Japan, everything Japan. You got to team up with all these other places to get numbers. Even MLW the other day, you know, Court Bauer, cute. You know, oh, MLW, 5,000 strong. But meanwhile, it was co-promoted with another promotion, I think in Mexico or something like that. You know, I mean, you could feel that way and pretend that way, but at the end of the day, Sinclair, there's no reason to invest that much time, energy, and money in a promotion that's what? Gets 1,100 pay-per-view buys? You know, it's like, the fuck are we wasting all this time for? We would make more money if we go in the stock market and buy 1,000 shares of Moderna. You know, I mean, that's just a fact. It's got to be a new owner, private owner. But I want to praise Impact Wrestling for something. We'll get back to the Super Chats for a second. I did not know Impact Wrestling did this. And for any of you that tuned into Saturday's show, when we reminisced about buying wrestling VHS tapes and buying DVDs and buying video games like Grand Theft Auto Vice City when they first came out, and you anticipated it. You waited for the first day of sale. You waited in lines. You got it shipped to you. That anticipation. But we talked about DVDs, VHS tapes, and you got to give credit to Matt Cardona and what's his face? Oh God, that was his partner. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. You know, Kurt Hawkins? Yeah. I forget his other name, but did you know that they came out with this? Slammiversary on VHS. $25, sold out. Now, we don't know how many tapes that they made, but they came up with the idea. Brian Myers, thank you, James. They came up with the idea of coming out with a VHS set of Slammiversary, and it sold out in a hot minute. That warms my heart because you and I have talked many times, especially on Patreon, that I still spin 12-inch records. I mean, I showed on one of the Patreon episodes my record collection with all my white label DJ mixes. And to see them realize, hey, you know, people are into nostalgia. A lot of young people out there that never owned a VCR gets a VCR. I thought that was genius. Wow, that's really small. I thought that was genius on their part to do that. Would you have?
I mean, everybody's kind of getting into that too. Like, not just vinyl, but I mean, you can go to new music sites like a Bandcamp, and they're selling cassette tapes now too. I actually saw a throwback 8-track. I don't even know how people make 8-tracks in 2021, but there they are.
Yeah.
Retro media is coming back. The fact that there's VHS out there, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody starts throwing up betas just to be cute, because I think a lot of it is not necessarily about playing it, but about collecting it. And this might be one of those examples.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, how did I not know about this? I mean, I still have a VCR, and I have some VCR tapes that, you know, I said we're going to do an episode on a Thursday. We're going to play some of my home video stuff just to have some good laughs at it from like 30 years ago. But that's awesome. I mean, seriously, to Cardona and Marios, it was their idea. I'm just curious how many copies they made. I mean, it's not expensive. I mean, you could still buy VHS tapes for cheap. It's right. You know, it's not what it was 15 years ago, but you know, you can make cover art on the printers and just dub the VHS tapes. I mean, $25, it probably cost them what, $4 or $5 to make it. So, you know, that's 400% profit. So not bad, not bad. Shout out to Nero Fay. keep battling, my friend. He's battling Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I know that he just had a surgery. So, our prayers are with you. And I give him credit because he's the one that convinced me, keep my stress test appointment. Now I got to go for an angiogram. Sucks. AS7607, much love, my friend. I hope that everything is good with you. A lot of our friends, especially in the chat room, that always show her love and support. I know she hasn't been around for a while, but I hope you're doing well. I almost feel guilty, Ed. You had to super chat that for us to give you a shout out, but much love. Hope you're doing well. And let me see. Okay. One last question from Steve. When do you think the next wrestling boom will be? Because this is not a wrestling boom right now. These are fans divided. Like I said, I still ask the question. I don't know how you could even analyze this, because if you run polls, people are not going to be honest. But what percentage of AEW fans also watch Raw and SmackDown? We have no idea. If you take away, go ahead.
I think the expectation of when the next wrestling boom is going to be is when there's a star, a talent that surpasses the company that they're in. When they become not only a main event status, but they become a main event attraction. I don't think that anybody in AEW or WWE is an attraction right now. And I know that's a weird thing to say, but I just don't see houses selling out anymore. You don't see the kind of buzz that you had even 15 years ago. Wrestling as a whole is kind of stagnating. And even though there is a buzz around AEW and a lot of those guys are turning some heads, we're still not talking about it on a mainstream level. There aren't people standing around the business water cooler talking about what kind of promo CM Punk and MJF dropped this week. It's just not at that level. And it's not because AEW and WWE or any company doesn't have the tools. It's just it hasn't happened yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure.
It's kind of like the moon has to align correctly, and there has to be that King of the Ring, Stone Cold Steve Austin moment. That's what you need. You need that Rock promo moment where he's chewing out Farouk. You need those big moments. You need that Mankind being lifted up on the shoulders of DX, or the This Is Your Life Rock. You need those moments that are absolutely encompassing of what wrestling is, while grabbing a completely alien audience to watch it.
Yeah.
When you start seeing people that want nothing to do with wrestling watching wrestling clips on YouTube, you have something special.
Yeah. That's why it is so important, and I talked about it yesterday. It's so important that WWE sticks with NXT being the developmental territory. You have to create the stars that are going to be the stars in 5 years or 10 years. Look, 10 years ago, or even 7 years ago, did anybody truly think that Sasha Banks, maybe Charlotte to an extent, but Sasha, Becky, and Bianca and others would be the focal point of the women's division? Would anybody think 10 years ago that Seth Rollins would be one of the big stars here? Kevin Owens, when he first came in? I mean, you have to start building the unknown that are going to become stars 5-10 years from now, not just for WWE's sake, but for AEW's sake, for GCW, for others. You can't just rely on signings of everyday names. You got to build stars. And what happens when MJF or Sammy Guevara, start really hitting their peak and are heavyweight champion material, and then WWE makes them an offer they can't refuse? What does that leave you with? That leaves you with wrestlers who are now in their late 30s or maybe even early 40s. And now 5 years from now, they're now in their early to mid 40s. And I'm sorry, Sting and Billy Gunn are very rare exceptions to the rule. And some of the wrestlers that you see now are not going to be around in 5 years. And I brought it up Saturday. We don't even know if Roman Reigns will be wrestling in 5 years. You don't know if some of these wrestlers are just going to decide, look, man, if you work hard, and I'm not comparing like to us, but if you work hard, there are ways to make money. And when you're in wrestling and you could just play a freaking video game and talk to your fans for 2-3 hours, this person drops you a 5 spot, a 10 spot, $2, $1, $20, $19, $6, $5. Do a membership, this and that, do an autograph signing, wrestle here, do a virtual autograph signing. Hey, I don't even need to leave my goddamn house. You start adding it all up. Little here, little here, little here, little here. That's where you make money. There are more opportunities for wrestlers today. Cameo. How many of you out there would pay how much would you pay, Mish, for a Bray Wyatt cameo right now or a CM Punk cameo? Because I know that you like them both. If you had the opportunity right now for any wrestler whatsoever, let's say CM Punk, how much would you pay, seriously, if you get a pretty cool cameo from him?
Because you have people like Bliss or other people out there charging $600.
Well, that's WWE doing that.
Yeah, but even still, you're not going to
devalue people. If they weren't in WWE, let's say they charge.
They probably charge more. I would say I wouldn't be surprised if CM Punk was to get on Cameo and charge people $1,000. I guarantee you it would still sell.
How much would you pay?
Still sell.
How much would you pay?
Would I pay
reasonably for a CM Punk cameo? Honestly,
$150.
Okay, I was actually thinking $150 to a $1.99. You get, even if you charge $150, you get 1,000 fans. That's $150,000 minus the cameo fee. And all you do is you sit, you talk for a minute and a half, 3 minutes on the telephone. Sure, 1,000 would be a couple of thousand minutes, but still. That is opportunities that weren't around a long time ago. So a lot of wrestlers could be very creative with how they can make money right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get into a couple of things, and then we're going to call it. We're at an hour and 22, so we're going to wrap this up in about 10, 15 minutes. For our Patreon family, tomorrow, we will announce the winner of the favorite cereal tournament. It has come down to these 3 cereals. There is a 3-way for the finals: Cinnamon Toast Crunch versus Reese's Puffs versus Honey Nut Cheerios. I will tell you, if I could log into it right now and show you a screenshot, it is almost a 3-way tie. It is unbelievable how close these have been since we started the finals. And tomorrow we're going to start the favorite Christmas movie tournament. That'll run for about 2 weeks. So something tells me that Goldberg and Santa's sleigh will not make the cut, but that starts tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow on NXT, Johnny Gargano will be saying goodbye. And, look, wherever he goes, like I said yesterday, I just hope wherever he signs, even if he comes back to WWE or goes to AEW, I just hope he signs with a promotion that has TV. So I could still watch him entertain. One other thing, Scotty Hotty recently announced that he is leaving WWE as a trainer. A lot of people wanted to clickbait you that, it's a sinking ship and this and that, and he just wants to get out of there before, he gets canned and everything like that. Scotty Hotty wants to wrestle again. He, I believe, is 48 years old now, so he doesn't have that much time in the tank. He might have wrestled maybe, 1 match, 2 matches in 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Scotty Hotty posted this New Year's resolution for 2022. Not only does he want to have fun, he wants to wrestle in Mexico, Japan, in front of his kids and on national TV. So I think we will probably see him on an episode of AEW. But Scotty Hotty wants to wrestle. That is probably the number one reason why he left WWE. That he wants to get back in the ring and not, plenty of time for him to train others. But after doing that for 5 years, he wants to get back in the ring. So, let me see. I think we could wrap it up with Jeff Hardy.
Okay.
All right. Look, I'll open it up with this. I've been doing this since 97. Nish has been doing this since the early 2000s. And that's only because he's younger than me. Otherwise, he would be doing it longer than me. I'm doing it that long because I'm old. One catchphrase that I have been doing since 97 is, I don't want to be first. I want to be right. I also try to be a lot more respectful these days compared to a long time ago when I was much nastier, very vulgar, very brash. Especially when it comes to addiction, to demons. When Jeff Hardy had that motor vehicle accident, remember that, hitting the divider and everything like that, and we got the police report. Mish and I got that police report. Everybody online lied. They exaggerated. They only had 2 or 3 little pieces of info, and they tried to put those pieces together, and they didn't have the whole story. And we got that police report that time, and it showed otherwise. But we always defended Jeff Hardy, and it's not just, battling demons, because even if you quit alcohol, if you quit narcotics, for anyone out there, it's a battle for a lifetime. Jeff Jarrett is dealing with that. Kurt Angle is dealing with it. This is a battle that they are winning, but it is a battle that is a lifelong battle. So whenever someone has a bad day, or they get a stomachache, or they get COVID, or they're just burnt out, to immediately equate that with demons is awful, disrespectful. And the one thing that angered me today, it really pissed me off. And trust me, I'm not jealous of people getting hundreds of likes, because honestly, at the end of the day, I showed this 2 days ago. In 20 days, not including YouTube, almost 160,000 downloads in 20 days since going to Blue Wire. That is the actual stats. Trust me, I don't know how to Photoshop graphs. Anybody could, I can't manipulate that. That is straight up. Blue Wire backs it up. Here's my point. A lot of people out there, the phrase that they use today with Jeff Hardy is, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. If you don't want to be wrong, then you don't jump the gun. You don't insinuate that this guy fell off the wagon. For those that don't know, and there's a lot of fan footage online, and unfortunately we cannot play it because we don't want to get hit with copyright strikes from WWE. Jeff Hardy, over the weekend, wrestled at a house show in Texas. He teamed up with Xavier Woods and Drew McIntyre. They took on the Bloodline. Most of the match, he was on the mat getting beat down. Something was up with his midsection. Something was up with him. And I freaking hate that PW Insider and Mike Johnson used the words rough shape, because those are the words that were used when Jeff Hardy took on Sting in TNA. And the fan cam footage, the cell phone footage that's floating around, was not online yesterday. And the report came out yesterday from PW Insider that Jeff Hardy looked to be in rough shape. And during the match, he gave the hot tag to, I guess, Drew, and just walked out of the ring, hopped the guardrail, walked through the crowd. Security ran after him, and WWE sent him home. But to paint the picture rough shape without seeing the footage, without getting the facts first, everybody online that talked about it ran with it, immediately thinking he was drunk, battling alcohol, falling off the wagon. And people couldn't wait to blog about it, to do videos, to write articles, not knowing what the facts were yet. And people made it about themselves. Oh my God, I got to run to YouTube and get 50,000 views without me knowing the facts. But I could justify, oh, I hope I'm wrong. It appears Jeff Hardy may have fallen off the wagon. I hope I'm wrong. If you don't want to be wrong, you don't say shit or even insinuate that without knowing the facts. So today, lots of cell phone videos started coming out. And when you see it, Jeff Hardy is taking pictures before the match with a fan or two at ringside, is not stumbling, does not look drunk, does not look under the influence, is having the match. At some points, he's holding his midsection, and then he gets the hot tag and he just leaves. Matt Hardy today was doing a live video stream. And Matt Hardy said, and I quote, I did speak to Jeff a little bit today, and he's okay. He's good. I think he'll be fine. But once again, this isn't my business. If he wants to go into it in more detail, he'll do it himself. But Jeff is okay. He is at home. He is okay. It's not my business. It's not my story to tell or explain. And besides that, I wouldn't be able to do any justice because it's not from my perspective. I love my brother. I just want my brother to be okay and healthy. That doesn't sound like, or even the video look like, somebody that relapsed. I hate when people throw that out there and then try to cover it up and play face by saying, I hope I'm wrong. If you truly care about Jeff Hardy, because we just had that conversation Saturday, Mish. On Saturday, we were talking about why Jeff Hardy is so beloved. If titles don't matter, then why do people want to see Jeff Hardy win the title one last time? We just talked about Jeff Hardy on Saturday. As we were talking about it Saturday, ironically, he was walking out of a ring, walking through the crowd and going home. Literally during my live show. I asked a few people late last night, and it was hard because War Games was on. And you know what the word going around last night, Mitch, was? Jeff Hardy had to take a shit. That's actually what some people in the back thought. Then it turned into he's burnt out. That it just became so emotionally overwhelming that he had to just get out. You ever been in a situation, Mish, where you feel like suddenly you get this, this paranoia, you get this, you feel like the walls are closing, you get almost like a panic attack, and you just got to get out of an area? I don't know. Sure. I don't know what happened with Jeff Hardy yesterday. And I'm not going to guess, and I'm not going to speculate. And I just find it terrible that not everybody, but a good amount of people online immediately jump back to the relapse. And I don't blame people for thinking that. When you have someone who has had addictions, your natural common sense would be like, oh, shit. Don't tell me, because it wasn't too long ago when Jeff Hardy had the beach incident. But the thing is, keep it to yourself. Tell what happened, that he walked out of the ring, holding his midsection, went through the crowd, WWE sent him home, and that's all we know. I hope to God he's okay. I hope he didn't relapse. I'm not going to even tease that. I think what happened today was pretty disgusting online. What are your thoughts on what transpired and how you feel about Jeff Hardy?
I didn't think he relapsed. I saw that on there, and people saying that he had to take a shit, maybe. Like it could be something like that. And being burnt out, that's a possibility too. But my first thing was none of that. My first thing was, is Jeff sick? Does he have the Omicron, the Unicron version of COVID, the thing that's supposedly ripping our country apart right now. Like, I was more worried about the fact, did Jeff catch something and now it's screwing with him in the middle of a match? Like, I don't know why people would immediately go to, oh, this dude's off the wagon again. I just thought that was kind of bogus. I thought it was kind of bogus of a lot of people. It's their right to opine, but my first knee-jerk reaction was, holy shit, I hope Jeff didn't catch anything.
Yeah.
That was literally my first reaction. And then everybody said, oh, he had to take a shit. He's not feeling good. Matt Hardy came out and said, he's okay. So that kind of relieved me as far as, okay, well, then it's not what I fear. Because I think that a normal, rational human being would say, hey, the virus that's destroying our country by the foundations as we speak, and this round 2 that's coming in that's supposedly even more deadly than the original version, why would anybody think it would be that? Why would something that's on every single media station in the United States have anything to do with somebody getting sick in the ring? So I'm glad it's not, or at least at first view it's not. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is pressure. Maybe he just had a build-up. It is Christmas time, people. That's another thing. I mean, if you're talking about Jeff Hardy being stressed or having an anxiety attack, it very well could happen. Christmas is not friendly for a lot of people. Absolutely, it's a good time to be with family and friends. But let's be honest, men's health, many men get very lonely and very depressed and very introverted around the holidays. So I'm not sure where Jeff's head is at. I don't know if maybe he just had some bad Taco Bell. But my first knee-jerk reaction wasn't, oh, this guy's having a weird moment in the middle of a match. He must be drunk again.
That's what you summed it up right there. Look, there's no question. It's very odd to just walk through the crowd and leave. Why not just walk to the back? Why not just roll under the ring? So, yes, that is extremely odd. But again, for people to bring up, especially that he was just on Steve Austin's podcast, where he said, I can't screw up again. That is, even just that thought, that is pressure. That is an insane pressure when you're dealing with the aches and pains of being a wrestler and you can't go to alcohol. You can't go to marijuana. You can't go to typical aids that make you feel better. And the temptation could drive people mad. That's why even more, if you don't know what was the cause of it, it is so reckless to bring up addiction and alcohol and then try to play face by saying, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Don't be wrong. Just say, oh my God, Jeff Hardy walked out during the match. It doesn't ever happen. WWE sent him home. I hope he's okay. Nothing wrong with that. And a lot of people did do that. A lot of people were like, oh my God, I hope he's okay. And that's it. But to see people bring up the alcohol and go through these old things like, oh, Jeff, don't let me down and this and that, and I hope that I'm wrong. And that, it just felt so many people were just more concerned about like tabloid, like, let me get all this attention on myself. Hey, everybody, look at this. Let me write this. Let me say this. Let me do this and get all his attention on myself instead of just telling what we know. And that's it. I hope to God he's okay. I have no idea what led up to that. But, it's just something that was odd. You don't normally see. He's not a member of the Shield where you walk through the crowd to enter and you walk through the crowd when you leave. So he is home. Matt Hardy's statement makes me feel a lot more relieved. And I say this like I have said about Moxley, Brody Lee's family, and other situations. He doesn't owe us an explanation. as human beings and as fans and supporters of Jeff Hardy, we would love to know what happened. But he doesn't owe that to us. Just like those families didn't owe us any explanation as to why something happened or they needed time off of this, and that. If Jeff Hardy wants to tell us the reason why, we will know. But I guarantee you in the next couple of days, you're going to have people out there, big Jeff Hardy update. And if you see any words with the letter LY at the end of it, those are people that are just using Jeff Hardy to benefit themselves or to put attention on themselves. I talked about it yesterday about Braun Breaker, and I know Cruiserweight had mentioned this earlier too. I said it yesterday, and sure enough, today, pretty much it was happening big time. Braun Breaker came out and told everyone that he's the one that came up with the Braun Breaker name. Raquel Gonzalez talking about that they miss Triple H and they hope he's back soon once he is healthy enough. And right away, you got people out there, sure, that's the reason. Sure, you came up with that. Like, everybody is a liar. Shawn Michaels explains why they went back to their roots with developmental. Oh, Shawn Michaels is just walking the corporate line because he knows where his bread is being buttered. Like, nobody is telling the truth anymore. Everybody's got to turn it into some nefarious, controversial thing. And I cringe I cringe what I'm going to see in the upcoming days about the Jeff Hardy stuff. And like I said, anybody that writes anything that puts LY in a word, they don't know. I don't know. You don't know. Everybody online does not know. Unless Jeff Hardy tells us, none of us know. And Matt Hardy's not going to tell any Joe Schmo online out of the love of his brother. He's going to keep it in here. I hope to God he's okay.
I do too.
Yeah. With that, I think we should get out of here. One more super chat, if you don't mind. Bob the Builder is asking, do we agree with the comparison to WWE and Marvel? What do you think about that, Mish?
I don't know what comparison he means.
Maybe like, the superheroes.
Superstars or superheroes.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not just Nikki
A.S.H. Larger than life characters on screen for people that aren't larger than life. I mean, I kind of found it funny on NXT War Games yesterday that Joe Gacy was standing next to Ivy on the outside of the ring. Ivy is billed at 5'2". Joe Gacy is billed at 6 feet. But when they were standing next to each other, there were maybe about 2 inches of a difference. I'm just saying. So, I mean, in the sense of optical illusions and building people larger than life, sure.
Yeah.
I can see that comparison.
But we also have to look at like Jeff Hardy and John Moxley and others, that a lot of these wrestlers are larger than life heroes. But they do have personal issues just like you and I. That's why, and I know Mish will agree with me wholeheartedly on this. And this is a person that either people absolutely love or they absolutely dislike. And Lana, I mean, everybody thinks because she's been in movies, because she's been in wrestling, because she is beautiful, she's a model, she's got, a great life, that she can't hurt like everybody else. She can't cry like everybody else. She can't feel the pressures like everyone else. And, you firsthand know exactly what I'm talking about with that. And, the Saudi Arabia thing that she thanked you for the comments. At the end of the day, a lot of these wrestlers, they may come off as superheroes on TV, but at the end of the day, they're human beings just like all of us, and they battle. And, that's why I say, even if you can't stand Nia Jax, when someone says they have mental health issues and they battle, issues with depression and weight, this and that, maybe you give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not just using that as a way out of getting people to leave them alone. I know a lot of people who run to mental health as a quick way, like, oh, I have mental health issues. Oh, okay, so we can't go anywhere. But there's a lot of people that, you may think that they're just using it as an excuse, and you really don't know. You don't know what's going on in their head. And with the Jeff Hardy situation, we don't know. We don't know how tough it is to battle what he's battling. We don't know how tough it is to be on the road that much, to be away from our family, to hurt mentally, physically. We don't know. And, if you really care about the guy, don't jump the gun, don't insinuate, and then try to pull it back by saying, I hope I'm wrong. Well, don't be wrong. Wait until you know the truth. And if we don't ever know the truth, okay. So I hope he's okay. Mish, it's been real, my friend. Tomorrow, you and I will be on Patreon. We will announce the winners of the cereal tournament. It's off the cuff, so it'll be a very lighthearted episode. I will be here because the parents are in Florida. I am bird sitting. He is asleep inside. And tomorrow morning at 9:30, I have to go to a heart doctor for a second opinion just to make sure that the angiogram is absolutely necessary. So I am going to jet out of here so I can try to get some sleep tonight. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. Nope, nothing. See everybody tomorrow.
All right. Much love, my friend.
Bye.
Take care. All right, everybody. I hope, our thoughts, come across the way they should. I just think, don't jump the gun because we really don't know what the hell happened. It just looked so awkward on video to see him, posing, wrestling, hot tag, just gets up and leaves. Just walks out. We don't know what transpired. To me, it looked like almost like a panic attack or a meltdown, or like some people said yesterday, maybe he just had to use the bathroom. Obviously, it's not just that. WWE sent him home. But Matt Hardy's comments are very reassuring that he's home, he's with his family, and we just got to hope that he's good. So I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. And if you're part of our Patreon family, you're welcome to join us tomorrow live at 10:05 p.m. right after NXT. I don't normally watch NXT live anymore, but I am going to watch it tomorrow. I want to see Johnny Gargano's farewell. Me preferably, I hope he would re-sign with WWE. Doesn't have to work a full-time schedule. He is in Florida with his family, and he can help, continue building the stars of tomorrow. And Johnny Gargano's not over the hill. Johnny Gargano, no reason why he can't be, the heavyweight champion of Focal Point. But at this point, maybe he just needs some time to just be home, be with his family, clear his mind, and just break the monotony. Don't know. Kyle O'Reilly could be his last match tomorrow in the cage versus Von Wagner. If you didn't check out my NXT recap from yesterday, check it out. I think we were very fair discussing that show. And like I said yesterday, if I was Triple H, I'd be very proud with what I saw yesterday, especially under the turmoil and the circumstances with WWE releasing so many talents under the NXT banner. They are on the right track with some of these young stars. Some others, I don't know if they will be around 6 months from now. But yesterday was a fun show. And if you didn't see War Games yesterday, I would recommend checking it out. So everyone, if you don't mind, if you haven't done so already, if you liked tonight's show, hit that thumbs up. We are 19 away from 200. So it'd be cool to go off the air with 200 likes. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. What are we at right now? We're like at 22,700. So I can't wait to get to 50,000. And if you know anyone out there you think that would like the channel, tell them to check it out. It's free. Doesn't cost anything. And that's it. So everyone, thank you as always for hanging out with us, having some fun, lighthearted, yet serious conversation. And we always try to mix in, just real serious, real. We don't run away from it. We don't hide it. We don't, try to cover it up. We try to face it head on. And I think that makes it, very, it makes it easier for everybody to relate. Because believe me, Jeff Hardy is not the only one that might be dealing with some of the issues that he is. A lot of you out there may be doing that as well. And believe me, some of the wrestlers, when you see them battle and succeed, it is very inspiring for others to do the same. And you don't have to be a WWE superstar, an AEW superstar to be an inspiration to others. Believe me, there's a lot of you out there that truly do matter to a lot of others out there. So you don't need celebrity status to matter. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to jet out of here. Have a great night. And I'll see you all either tomorrow on Patreon or Wednesday after AEW Dynamite. And we'll see what goes down in NXT. So good night, everybody.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the hosts. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.